Hello! Greetings to everyone and anyone who is watching this. So Josh asked me to put together a video to show all of you. So this is kind of a mask that I'm wearing, and I'm going to show you all how to do this. My name is Risa. My channel is Makeup by Risa here on YouTube. Let's see, what's my background? I don't really have a background. I didn't go to school for makeup. I worked at MAC for about 2 years. I did learn some things there. I did have an amazing trainer. I have to give credit where it's due. Basically, I'm primarily self-taught. I do a lot of freelance work, so I do weddings and photo shoots and stuff like that. Probably the biggest thing that I have accomplished was I worked for New York Fashion Week this past season, which was amazing. But yeah, so I don't really have much of a background in makeup, like no schooling and all that, but I've been doing it for about like 5 years now, 5-6 years, something like that. So in any case, yeah, you're about to see a tutorial on how to achieve this look, so enjoy! Okay, so first things first, I already have foundation on, and I do have my lips on. I will take them off. Let's get started. So first things first, I'm going to start with this. This is Desirous Blush by MAC. I'm taking this blush brush, and what I'm going to do is, rather than use it as blush, I'm just going to put it right here and just go around in circles, because you want that really bright kind of peachy color kind of exploding at the edges or the temples of the face, the edges of the eye. So, I don't know if you guys can see how bright and vibrant that is. So, just really, you really want to just buff that out. So it's almost like blush that's a little too high. And I'm actually going to bring that down just a little bit right onto the cheekbones. Alright, so next step, I'm going to take this. This is Sun Drenched Cream Color Base by MAC. And I'm just going to take a fluffy brush and get a little bit of product. And I'm just going to put that all over my eye. Now, when you're working with cream-based products in general, especially if you want longevity, you really want to try to stay away from using a lot of it, because most of us tend to have oily eyelids, and when using a cream-based product, even if you're putting powder over it, if you use too much, it will definitely crease. So you have to be careful. So I'm putting that sun-drenched everywhere. Alright, my base is on. So next step, I'm going to take a different fluffy brush, and I'm going to grab a little bit of this. This is called Beautiful Iris Eyeshadow by MAC. And this is one of my favorite colors to wear on the inner eye, because it is a color, definitely, but it's light enough that it's still giving you, it's not too dark that it's going to make your eyes look smaller, and it's just enough color to make it pop. This is a really, really good color also to use on people that have brown eyes. Next step, I'm going to take this. This is called Tango. It is kind of a loose pigment by Calypso Minerals. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of that, and I'm going to put it right on the right in the center of my eyelid. So I don't know if you guys can see that bright orange fading into the purple. Okay, so next step, I'm going to take another fluffy brush, and I'm going to grab a little bit of this eyeshadow by MAC called Sushi Flower, and I'm just going to go right on the outer corners of my eye, because you want that orange to fade into pink. So when you're applying shadow in a normal look, one helpful trick I think is if you anchor the brush right underneath your bone and just kind of go in circles, and that will disperse the shadow kind of evenly and it'll help you get a better blend. So I'm just taking that up into my crease a little bit. Okay, so the next step, I realize that this looks very uneven right now on the top, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of Motif eyeshadow by MAC, and I don't know if you guys can see because it's kind of almost gone. I've definitely hit pan on this. This is a good color, and I'm going to put a little bit of that right underneath my eyebrow. This is going to be my brow highlight. And this is a really pretty orange that has kind of a pink duochrome sheen to it. And so that's going to tone down that pink a little bit. Okay, so now our colors are on there, but we want to add a little bit of depth. So the way to add depth, obviously, is to use darker colors. So I'm going to go in with a little bit of Burnt Burgundy pigment, again by MAC. I'm going to go in with my pencil brush, and I'm going to place that color right on the outside, and I'm just kind of etching that in my crease and pulling in. Now when working with darker pigments, you definitely want to be careful. It's better to use less and go back and add more than have too much. So can you kind of see how that's coming together? It's already adding a little bit of definition, but I definitely want it to be darker. So now I'm going to go back with this brush and I'm going to grab a little bit more of the sushi flower, just to kind of blend out, help blend out that burnt burgundy, that darker color. And also the sushi flower is a very intense kind of a pink. Has a lot of red to it, so it's definitely going to make that burnt burgundy pop even more. Okay, so now that the shadow is all pretty much blended on the sides, I don't know if it looks blended in this light, but I double checked it and it is. So I'm going to go back with my angled brush and the motif, and I'm just going to etch that right underneath my eyebrow. I just want that really kind of intense highlight. Okay. Enough for now. And you know what? I'm not liking these lips, so I'm actually going to take them off. Next step, I'm going to go back with my pencil brush and I'm going to use some of the burnt burgundy pigment and I'm going to put that right underneath my eye. And then I'm kind of pulling that out a little bit. Now this eye is really intense and this eye not so much. So now I'm going to go back with this brush and I'm going to grab a little bit more of that bright, vibrant sushi flower. I'm going to dust that right underneath. So here comes the fun part. I'm going to use this, it's a little dish, and I'm going to use my spatula, and I'm going to grab a little bit of that burnt burgundy pigment, and I'm dumping it right in there. And I'm going to use my water-based mixing medium, and I'm just going to squeeze a little bit in there just so that I can make kind of a nice little paste almost. Now this can be a little bit messy, but I'm going to go in with this brush and I'm going to mix all of that up. So I have the brush covered and it's wet. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to block this part of my face because I don't want any flecks on there, and I'm just going to pull this back and just kind of let it fly. Alrighty, now that side is done. Now I'm going to do the other side. Alright, so both sides are done with the burnt burgundy. Now I'm going to go in with a little bit of Calypso Minerals Whatever. That's the name of the color, Whatever, and I'm going to do the same thing with that. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing with Bright Fuchsia Pigment. For the next step, I'm going to use a little bit of that burnt burgundy pigment. It's still wet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that as eyeliner. Alright, so next I'm going to line underneath my eyes with this wet. And I'm only going about 2/3 of the way in, and I will tell you why in just a second. I'm going to pull that out a little bit. So now that that's done, I'm going to do the eyeliner a little bit different. I want to open my eyes up a little bit, so rather than follow it all the way up here, I'm going to bring it down and angle it in. Now getting this angle right takes some practice, so don't feel bad if you don't get it right the first time. Should actually zoom in a little bit so you guys can see a little bit better. Okay, so next step, I'm actually going to add like fake lashes on the bottom. And I'm going to use an angled brush wet with burnt burgundy pigment for that. So I'm just pulling out with little flicks of my brush. I don't know if you guys can see that, I hope so. Now I'm going to go upward a little bit, just on the outer edges. And I'm really just using like the outer point of the brush. Next step, I'm going to take just a plain black mascara, and I'm going to use it to press on my face like this. So I'm actually going to bend the brush a little bit like that, so it makes it a little bit easier. And I'm just going to do it very lightly. You can also use the point of the wand. It tends to have a little bit more product on it. It's kind of like a firework explosion out of your eyes. So my battery keeps dying. So I went ahead and did this side already, but I'm going to show you how over here. I just took a basic black liquid liner. This is by Prestige, and I'm actually going in with a much finer point brush. So the purple's already on there, but I'm just going to go in with the black just to add more texture. And again, you really just want to use like the tip of the brush. Now as you can see, the shape that I created with these is I kind of brought it up this way and curving it down that. This is not necessarily a traditional mask, but you do want it to kind of frame your face almost. And you just keep adding more and more and more. What I did on this eye also is, I don't know if you can tell, but I added black on the end of this liner so that it's all kind of cohesive and pulls together. I'm going to do that on this side as well. And I'm actually going to bring the edge of my liner up even higher. So now, the other thing that I did on this side, I don't know if you guys can see that, but I added little lashes. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. Same kind of a technique. Okay, so I'm sure you guys noticed that this side also has purple on it. So again, more texture. So back with this brush. And I'm going to use some of the same purple that I used to kind of flick over everything earlier. I'm just going to use the point of the brush. We are almost finished. So for the next step, I'm going to take a little bit of pink bronze pigment. And I'm getting a little bit on my angled brush. And I'm going to put that right on my waterline. Now this might feel a little weird if you're not used to putting powder on your waterline, but I promise about 45 seconds after you apply it, it'll feel fine. Okay, so now that that's on my waterline, I'm actually going to take my water-based mixing medium and I'm going to add a teeny tiny bit, just one little drop right to it. And I'm going to push it on my hand just to squeeze off any excess. Because you see how we did that little line right there? I'm going to actually fill that in with pigment. But you don't want the pigment to fall on top of the line that you already created. So it's a lot easier when it's wet. Alrighty, there we go. So I'm going to touch up a little bit of the foundation that got messed up on my nose. Okay, next step, I'm just going to fill my brows in just a teeny tiny bit. They don't need to be filled in too much. Okay, so now that my brows are filled in, next step would be lashes. This is a pretty dramatic look, obviously, so I'm actually going to use some pretty dramatic lashes. These are by Red Cherry. Not sure what number they are. I think they're F001. So I've already pre-cut them. This is what they look like off. Okay, so my top lashes are on. If you do not know how to apply false lashes, there's many tutorials. I have a tutorial on my channel, so you guys can definitely check that out. Josh may have one too. So I'm going to add some lashes on the bottom, and I'm going to do that on camera because I don't know if you guys know how to do that. So this is a piece of a feather lash. See how it's curved like that? So normally we would place lashes like this, but for the bottom I'm actually going to put it upside down, kind of. So I'm going to place it just like that, right on the outer corner. It's actually a lot easier to do lower lashes than one might think. Just going to place it right beneath my own lashes. So, there we go. Okay, now lips. I'm going to use Magenta Lip Liner by MAC just to fill in. Okay, so the magenta is on and it's all filled in. Now I'm going to take my Vino lip liner and I'm just going to contour my lips a little bit by shading in just the outsides and blending it. Okay, so now that my lips are a little bit contoured, I don't know how this looks on video, you guys will be able to see better in the pictures, but now that that's finished, I'm going to take my Motif eyeshadow and a fluffy brush, and I'm just going to put a little bit right in the center of my bottom lip. So I'm going to use a little bit of my Luster White Luster Glass by MAC. I'm just going to grab this brush and use it as a lip brush. And I don't want a ton of gloss because I don't want my lips to bleed everywhere. Alrighty, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you learned a whole bunch of new tricks that you can apply to other things, and thanks for watching. Bye.